There's one upgrade that I've wanted to do for a very long time. Is this upgrade actually worth it? One thing I want to get clear right out of the gate is I'm not trying to hit some crazy print speed. I'm not looking for 13-minute benchies, 9-minute benchies. I just want a printer that prints fast and reliable, just like my Ender V3. So I'm just trying to get my V2 to match the performance of my V3. And I think after doing the direct drive extruder, what can get me there is upgrading the Hotend. So in this video, I'm going to replace the Hotend to see if I can get the same quality and same performance across the board. And this should hopefully let you know if this is an upgrade worth your time. My Ender 3 V2 actually prints great. So this isn't fixing a problem, but it's trying to improve performance. And I think a big part of the difference between the performance of my V3 and my V2 comes down to the Hotend, how fast it's able to schmooze, how fast it's able to extrude filament. And instead of spending the money to buy a new printer, I wondered if I could stay within a specific budget and make an old printer print like a new one. I mean, I think we all know the Hotend controls how fast we can melt the filament. So it controls our flow rate. And if your printer is moving fast, but your flow rate isn't keeping up, obviously that's going to cause problems. So clearly I need to try and get the flow rate of my V2 to match the flow rate of my V3. And the Hotend should do that. One of the things I loved about the TZE3 Hotend that I got, yes, I changed my cooling in addition to the Hotend, but I think you don't have to. I think it's a bolt-on replacement. I mean, based on the way everything looks, you could pull the old Hotend off, put this new one on. Yes, you have to run the new wires. It uses different wires. So run the wires. But other than that, this was such an easy upgrade. It was one of those things where I truly expected something to go wrong. And I wanted something to go wrong, honestly, because that makes for good content. But it didn't. Everything just went smoothly. And for the test, I wanted to keep things basically the same. Let's just print 2 benchies and see how each printer performs. Now, when it comes to how well the Ender 3 V2 did, I'm actually going from printing a benchy in about an hour and 25 minutes to printing a benchy in about 50 minutes, which actually makes this printer just a little bit faster now than my V3. Now, before I actually got to the printing, there were a couple of things I did have to do. There's PID tuning, which, and as I understand it, what PID tuning does is it basically gets the Hotend hot and then cools it off, hot, cools it off. And it does this for a while to basically determine what does it take to get it hot and what does it take to get it cold. So that way it can have a baseline and make sure that if you're saying hit 200 degrees, it can stay within that band. So started with PID tuning. The next thing I did was, and always make sure you do this anytime you work on your Hotend, is to recalibrate the Z offset first. So I ran a probe calibration and got that all figured out. And then finally, one of the things that I think was really critical that I was kind of hoping that I could avoid because it was a little more complicated, but input shaping. That was absolutely necessary. I did a couple of tests without input shaping, and then I went back and did input shaping and did a couple of more tests. And the printer runs quieter, it runs smoother, it prints nicer. So if you do this, just know that you're gonna have to do input shaping, or you should do input shaping. It just makes the printer print so much better. So what were the results of this? Like I said, this did print my benchy about 30 minutes faster. So there was a significant upgrade in speed, about 33%, which is fantastic. And that's kind of what I was looking for. But there wasn't a dramatic change in quality. There wasn't any massive improvements there. And the quality is where I need it to be for the functional parts that I print. So it's really good, and I'm really happy with the upgrade. One of the things I thought was really interesting, though, is once I did input shaping, I was surprised at how comfortable the printer seemed printing so much faster. It just didn't look like it was having any problems at all. And that was really nice to see because I wasn't sure what kind of experience printing at these faster speeds on an older V2 would produce. I mean, I know what all the other YouTube videos say and what they portray, but in real life, in my experience, a guy that doesn't really know what he's doing, you know, how's it going to work? And the printer handles it so nicely. And again, input shaping made a big difference there too. So I'm glad I did that. And the nice thing about this is now I feel comfortable to start a print and walk away. And for those of you that do a lot of printing but have a lot of print failures, you know how difficult that can be. And especially doing an upgrade like this, being able to start a print and walk away can be a scary thing. Now I'm able to, and I feel comfortable and confident doing that. So it was definitely a worthwhile upgrade that I really am glad that I did. Was it worth it? If you have an Ender 3 and you like the way it prints and you want it to print just a little bit faster because you want it to feel just a little bit more like a newer printer and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I think it's absolutely worth it. If you're expecting it to completely transform your printer, it won't. This is a quality of life upgrade, not a miracle. But for me, this absolutely was worth doing. It's not something I would rush into. Definitely count the costs. There was a couple of times where having a second printer really came in handy for me. So that's something to consider if you're thinking about this upgrade, because you could put yourself in a position where you take the printer completely apart only to have to put it back together with the old parts so you can print a part so that you can put it back together with the new parts. And that wouldn't be fun at all. But if you like tinkering with your printers and you're thinking of upgrading an Ender 3, this is definitely an upgrade that I would consider.